Today I will be reading chapter 25 of Rump, the true story of Rumpelstiltskin. Chapter 25 is called Warnings from Red. In a week the world was white with the first snow. My aunts huddled in the wool room near the fire with their work. I didn't want to be around any of that, so I took a walk to the village. Gnomes waddled around with their tongues out trying to catch snowflakes. That reminded me painfully of Red. I scooped up a girl gnome with pigtails and a pudgy nose. "This message is for Red in the mountain." "Message for Red in the mountain?" she squealed. I hadn't gotten a message from Red since I came to live with my aunts. I was a little worried. Was she all right? I wanted to talk to her, but with the gnome wriggling in my arms, I found I didn't know what to say. "Dear Red, I'm living with my 3 aunts who are witches. My real name is Rumple, and it means I'm trapped in magic forever and no one can help me. Opal is having a baby and I might have to take it." I just didn't think that message would inspire Red to respond. Mostly I wanted to send her something so she would send a message back to me. I started over. "Dear Red, I'm in yonder now. It's not so cold here. And guess what? I have 3 aunts. And guess what else? I grew. Maybe I'm taller than you now. Also, they call me Robert here, so it's probably better if you do too. Your friend Robert." The gnome scurried down the road until she was just a speck in all the white. After that, I walked to the village every day, even though it would be at least a week before a gnome came back with a message for me. It took 16 days. The gnome was so frozen I had to take him home and thaw him in front of our fire before he could say anything to me. I was delighted at first, but then Red's message wasn't so cheerful. "Dear Robert, Lord Greedy Fat Miller Oswald is withholding more rations because we're finding even less gold. I think the king has found Opal out. Don't worry, I won't say a thing about you-know-what. Obviously, Opal can't make gold out of straw, but the king can't kill her because, well, you know. And so the king has turned his wrath on the mountain, demanding more gold. But there is no gold, so everyone is really hungry and grumpy. Red. P.S. You might be taller than me, but I can still pound you." So King Barf was punishing the mountain through Lord Oswald. How he must have raged when he discovered Opal couldn't really spin the gold. Maybe she told the king about me to spare herself. Maybe soldiers were already searching for me. No, that can't be. It had been too long. Opal and the miller were probably afraid to tell the king that they had deceived him. They must have come up with an explanation for why she couldn't spin the straw into gold anymore. Like maybe expecting a baby takes away her magical powers or something. Yes, I could believe that, but I wasn't too confident that Opal would think to say it. Poor Red. She sounded so miserable. Maybe I could cheer her up with a rhyme, but the gnome who brought Red's message ran away as fast as he could from my message. I guess even gnomes have their limits. I found another in the village and sent Red a poem. "I know a miller, greedy and fat, smells like a troll, looks like a rat. He steals all the gold and he creeps like a cat, but one day the mountain fell down on him, splat." I waited 7 days and then went to the village every day to search for a gnome from Red. 16 days, 17, 18. I told myself it was because of the snow and ice. Maybe the gnomes refused to take any more messages such a long distance. 20 days. 25 days, 34 days. It took 34 days to get a reply, and her message was even less cheerful than the last. She didn't say anything about my poem. "Dear Robert, the miller has been asking me about you. He asked if I knew where you were or if I'd heard from you. I wanted to punch his nosy nose, but I can't do that, so later I punched Frederick for no good reason. Well, he's Frederick, that's a reason. Don't send the gnome back. I think the miller is starting to sniff with his oversized nose. Your friend Red. P.S. As always, Granny says, watch your step." The miller was asking about me. I tried to swallow the hard lump that had risen in my throat. He couldn't possibly find me here, could he? I was far away in yonder, tucked in a little wood with 3 witches who were my aunts. I was safe, wasn't I? But what if the miller could find me? I didn't want to believe it was possible, but if he could, I feared what he would do. He could hurt my aunts or use them just as he used me. Staying with them this long had been selfish on my part. I was putting them in danger, and they deserved nothing but kindness from me. It was probably time for me to leave now. That's the end of the chapter. I just want to remind you that I will be posting quite a few chapters on Kickstand, and I need you to keep up with the story so that the last week of school next week you can finish the book with us. If you don't listen to the chapters on Kickstand, you will be lost and confused, and you won't get to enjoy the ending with us as much. A lot of really exciting things happen in the next few chapters that I'll be putting up on Kickstand. So you'll want to pay close attention because I'm going to show you how to find your reading assignment on Kickstand in just a moment, okay? So just remember, if you want to enjoy the story, you need to listen to the chapters on Kickstand, okay? And I'll see you for the last week of school next week.